my friend moved to a town where people aren't allowed to take photos. I met the mayor, Imposter Bryce. As I petted him, stuck around for a couple of hours before shuffling off to God knows where. Once he was gone, I took Fugitive in the bedroom and looked the least worn and tried my best to get some shut eye. Needless to say, I slept like the opposite of a baby. Ambulance sirens stung through the night. Occasionally sounds of sniffing in the backyard. Bushes rang in my ear. Struggling to fall asleep, I got up to look out of the bedroom window. Outside, a street was empty, save for a man a block away, hugging a lamppost and looking right up at me. Fucking hell. The night and my attempts to rest became a blurry, half awake, half asleep haze. Eventually, the sound of knocking at the front door interrupted my drowsy nap. I left the bedroom, approaching the sound, and looked through the door's peephole, expecting some horrifying sight or nightmarish creature. It was Bryce. He was flashing the same signal we'd agreed upon earlier. After a minute of gearing up, I accessed the bravery needed to open the door. He entered, and to my great relief, didn't shape into a warlock and rip my face off. Cool of him. He didn't say much, not even hello. His face wore misery, and his weird, colty, sluggish outfit had splattered of blood on it. He desperately shuddered to his room, mumbling incautiously under his breath. Huh? Weirdly, having him home now was enough to temporarily override the PTSD I was feeling from the 24-hour of mindfuck. I went back to the room, and within minutes, I was lights out. When I woke up, it felt like I'd emerged from the best sleep I'd ever had, to the point that it took me a good 20 seconds to remember exactly where I was and for the misery to creep in. I looked at the clock and saw the time was only 7:15 a.m. I was flabbergasted. No way that I only slept an hour. I entered the dining room. Bryce was already breakfast ready. Plates were set out on the table. Does time work differently here? I asked, taking a seat. Bryce sized up my outfit. I was still wearing my clothes from yesterday. I should have remembered to lend you my PJs. My bad. I grabbed a forkful of scrambled eggs. I was hoping he'd start curdling his habit of avoiding my question. I took a bite. Not bad. Time, he ruffled. Not sure. There's enough weird things happening here that I don't really dwell on it. Fair enough, I said. So, I was instructed to bring you with me to today's job. I almost splattered eggs all over the table. Bring me? Me explicitly. Yep. He turned his phone around and leaned across the table to show me. Well, I'll be. There it was, wrapped in a gray bubble, the most recent text in a thread. This morning, you will visit the Parker Group building and audit their operations. Bring Rosedale Beckett with you. I sighed. I assume I have to come because not following the rules here is a bad idea. He shot me ungracefully with his finger guns. You catch on, Freddo. I decided not to protest. After yesterday's shenanigans, it was probably best I followed Bryce's lead. We promptly finished up breakfast. Bryce basically made a beeline to his car in the driveway after. Dude took his job seriously. I joined him outside, half afraid of a banshee would jump out of the bushes or something. But after things were relatively tame, actually, the only thing out of the ordinary was a gathering taking place in the auditorium's mansion across the street from us. Through the window, I noticed a gallery of well-dressed societies, like sitting at a circle and reading a book together. A book club. At this hour? I rode shotgun in Bryce's Ada. When the fuck did he get to Ada? As he drove us to the skyscraper in the town center. So, what's the escape plan? I asked. I've always been particularly shit at small talk. I'm sorry? I assume everyone in town is trying to get the fuck out of Dodge. What's the strategy? Friendly reminder that your head gets diverted if you try to escape Rose. Or did you already forget about yesterday? Yeah. But isn't anyone there crafting, figuring out some way to break from this hellscape? Ha! I think we're all still in the learning how not to die phase of things, he replied. Disappointing. Is it only is going to take me a few days to become just as resigned to things as Bryce's. I distracted myself from the melancholy by carefully eyeing the buildings we drove past. Library, convenience store, sex shop, convenience store, auto parts, steakhouse, convenience store. This place is fucking weird. So, I said, you ever been to this building before? Nope. Uh, huh? And what about auditing? That a thing you do regularly? First time. But you know what to do, right? Yeah, I was given clear instructions. Go inside, tell them why they're visiting, tell them, explain what they're doing, let them take us where they need to take us. If anyone has any concerns, say that they're friends of Melanie Lane. Right. And who's Melina Lane? No clue, he said. Oh, right, another rule. Avoid small talk with employees. We closed in on the high-rise. Bryce slowed down to find parking. We stepped out of the car, the looming building ahead. We walked under the protecting compound as the stone pillar framed our path. I noticed groups of people lurking behind the columns, peeking their heads out, almost glaring, some smiling. Bryce, I'm kind of scared. Don't worry about them. They won't do anything. Okay. We reached the entrance. The motion sensor sliding doors parted gracefully, inviting us in. We crossed in the lobby. A very sharp-dressed greeter approached us. Why, hello there, sir. And look, you brought company. Here for an audit, Bryce said smirkingly. Yes, of course, the folks up on 9 were expecting you. Great, we'll be on our way. Bryce, all business, walked to the elevator and pressed the button to call. He stared at the framed picture hung on the wall between the lifts. It was a portrait of a stunning luxury car. God, that's a sweet ride, he said. Ding! The elevator arrived. We slipped in at the steel box, and Bryce pressed on the button for the 9th floor. It went up. I mean, this isn't too bad. You always wanted to work in a fancy tech office, right? I asked. Yeah, I guess I did. Just getting trapped in this freaky town for that dream to pan out. Huh. I laughed, a little glimpsing of our buddy cop. Dominic was black under non-identical circumstances. He pulled out his phone slamily to check the text thread he had with his boss. Alright, so recap of the rules. If anyone asks, friends of Manila Lane. Manila Lane, I echoed. We'll explore ask the folks what they're doing, go wherever they asked us to. We'll take notes. We won't make small talks with them. Very simple. Got it. I nodded. The lift trembled momentarily as it settled into the ninth floor. Then the doors opened. We emerged into a floor that was pretty tacky looking decor, I have to say. It looked dated, unbecoming of the prestigious looking building it was housed in. We started down the hallway, flanked by the boardrooms on both sides. It sounded like business meetings were underway. Bryce entered one of the rooms seemingly at random. I trailed behind. Inside, a group of gentlemen, all dressed in prestigious white shirts, black ties, and sharp dress pants, sat around an age-laden table. Looks like they all got the dress moment for today. They momentarily paused for their discussion, looking up at us with puzzled stares. Here for Ada, Bryce announced curtly. Carry on. Bryce produced a small note and pen out of his coat pocket and began jotting down notes. The professionals hesitated briefly before assuming their conversation. So, as I was saying, one of the men said, we're finishing the design for the next convenience store. Not the echoes around the table. We need a clear, open road leading to the convenience store. Another contributed, no construction whatsoever. I'll oversee that. Again, a chorus of disagreement from the room. What about blood? A man interjected. Heads turned to his direction. If it's a significant amount of blood outside the convenience store, he simply declared, we'll need to assess to manage it. The pattern continued. Mumble of affronts shares between the employees. I had to ask myself, what in the ever loving fuck were they talking about? Yet my confusion went undershared. Bryce continued to scribble on his note, unfazed. I wondered if Bryce noticed the man seated at the end of the table. Blood pours from his eyes into his fancy shirt. The man was with a disturbing smile who kept whispering instinctively, blood outside the convenience store, blood inside the convenience store. Thankfully, or maybe regretfully, Bryce seemed obvious to him finishing his note taking. He left the room, and I followed.